What's happening, everybody? I'm Steve, and welcome back to Junk Drummer TV, and welcome to another episode of Storytime with Steve. It was about 2011, and I was playing in what I consider to be the first professional level band with a guy who had just got off of a major label with a band. He was signed to Island Records, and we were his, uh, you know, rebound band, and we were getting a little momentum in our area and starting to tour a little bit regionally. And then another singer songwriter that we kind of knew saw us play one New Year's Eve, and he came to us and he said, and he had a whole band, by the way. I felt really bad about the band. He came to us after we had played, and it was the end of the night, and he said, "Look, I'm recording a record like next week, and I want you all to record it for me." And he fired his whole band, and he hired this band. Now, if you're new to the channel, you know that I'm not giving names because I'm trying to stay anonymous. If you want to see this band, the band that I was in, if you go back a few weeks or months, there's a live multi-camera concert film that we did, and I released it there if you want to see us play. I had hair in that video. I know that won't look like me, but it is me. Anyway, Jeff was his name. Jumbo Mills, if you're watching, you have this record, and you told me you really liked it, and I appreciate it. If Jumbo Mills is still watching. So Jeff tells me, Bud, Jimmy, and John that he wants us to record this record. And we recorded a record with him, and it was fine. And we started playing as his backup band. And then a couple year or two later, we recorded another record with Jeff, with me, Bud, Jimmy, and John. And it got signed. It got signed by a small record label out of New York. And it was called New Song. I can say that because that record label doesn't exist anymore. Do record labels exist anymore? And we found out from Jeff on a Friday that we got signed. They wanted to buy the record. They wanted to give us an advance, and they wanted to buy us a van, which we didn't need one because me, Bud, Jimmy, and John had one. And they wanted to give us a small budget to tour. And more importantly, and what I thought was the most important thing, was they were going to get us with a booking agent, and we were just going to be able to go play. The days of us being on the phone trying to talk bars into having our band play was over. Now, there's a part of this story I've not told you yet. Jeff was and still is a reservesman. He is in the Army National Reserve. And at the time of recording that, he was already a veteran. So like Friday, he calls us all up, gives us all the good news. It's everything we've always wanted. And I think by Monday or Tuesday, Brother Jeff got redeployed, and I think he went to Iraq. Could have been Afghanistan. It's one of the two. So we got, and the thing is, Bud, he was the guy that was in the major label, so it wasn't that big a deal for him because he had toured with like Tom Petty and the Allman Brothers and all these bands. It was just kind of old hat for him. But the rest of us was like, this is going to be sweet. You know, this is what we've been working towards. And it worked out because we were going to play as Jeff's backing band, but we, as our entity, was going to be able to open the shows. So it was a twofer. It was a twofer deal. Now, me, Bud, Jimmy, and John were not signed, but we were recording records, and we were going to be able to get exposure, exposure. So like I said, Monday, Tuesday, Jeff calls. It's like, I got to go back to the war. And the label still released the record. And we got a little scratch, not a lot, but we got some scratch, and nothing came of it, because you can't release a record on a label without the band out there promoting it, doing interviews and touring. So, in 2011, I'd have been 30, what, four-ish, three-ish. So I'd already been playing a long time. And it was a big old punch in the gut. And it showed me how much I like music. And I realized through all of that that I wasn't in it. I mean, I was in it to get signed, and more importantly, be able to just go on tour and have someone else take care of it. But I think it could have been easy to get really disheartened and give up. But I didn't, we didn't. Those two entities, us as a band and then us backing him up and recording a record, went on for like two more records. We played lots and lots of shows together. And then, I think Jeff moved away and got married and had kids. It's the same old story of the way lots of musical situations disintegrate. But I think maybe the point of this story is, even though I didn't get to experience that very small label treatment, they did have some money. They sent us to New York City for like a couple days, and we played a whole like in 3 days we played like 6 shows or something. So they had, it was them flexing, saying, we've got some money to give you. But instead of getting hung up on that, I said, well, okay, that's how that went. Let's go practice and let's work on writing these songs and let's see if we can do it again. And I never really sniffed a label since then. I've had a few disheartening office meetings in Nashville on Music Row. That's for another story time. But the best part about that was I learned that I'm doing this for maybe the right reasons. I just wanted to play. I just want to play music. I just wanted to play live and write songs that you like and then record them and hopefully you buy them. This is 2011, 12, 13. People were still buying CDs back then. But I kept playing. And maybe the best part of the story is about 2 or 3 years later, I joined a band that I accomplished more than I've had done with anything up to that point. And that was the last band that I played in that I always talk about on the channel, the band for the band for people from the land of misfit toys. And in that band, I toured more than I ever did. We released a record, a live record, and a 45. And a single, and we played on Mountain Stage, on NPR, and then like the highest point probably of anything that I've ever done was we played with our home state's orchestra. And no, I don't have footage of that because when you play with the orchestra, there's all kinds of union laws. And if we wanted to record in any way, now between me and you, the people who are involved in that, some of them watch this channel, so I'm just going to say there's no video representation of what happened when we played with the symphony, wink, wink. But that was, the biggest thing that I'd ever really got to accomplish. I played all kinds of cool gigs in that second band afterwards, and I was in that band for 7 years, and we were kind of killed off by the pandemic. So I didn't let the shittiest part about it is it was circumstances around that label that was completely out of anybody's control. Jeff couldn't do anything about it. Can't really tell the U.S. government I can't go to war because I got a small record label contract. And it wasn't because we had fucked up in any way. I mean, actually, we were fucking tight as on fire playing wise. So there was no one to be mad at. It was just mad at the situation, I guess. That's about all that we could muster. But hopefully you'll take away from, like, even if you fail, and even if you fail and it's not your fault, if you really love this and you're not in it for the fame and the fortune, and I mean, we all are. But if you're doing it for higher purposed reasons, then you're doing okay. Because I, didn't quote unquote make it. But I can tell you, I am coming upon my 47th birthday, and I'm very glad that I can look back on that career, if you want to call it that, because I played gigs from 95 until, well, I mean, I played a gig this year, 95 until now. And if you're doing it for your art and wanting to make people happy and to trying to, monetize your hard work, then you'll still feel fulfilled. And I do. I'm so glad that I can look back and say I have no regrets. I shot my shot. So if you're out there and you're in a position to be able to chase those dreams and you can do it without ruining your life, man, you got to do it. You got to do it. That's what I think. That's what I learned. Thanks for watching, you all.